Hello and welcome to Penetrate Radio. I am Lucy Baldwin, your host. And today's episode is kind of a fun one because we didn't mean to record an episode. So, after the last episode that Layla, Danny, Holly, and I recorded, we wanted to record some content to invite you guys into our community, Dominion. And we ended up getting into a really juicy conversation that had nothing to do with the community at all. And we decided to turn it into a full episode. So this is a very off the cuff conversation that we had. I think you will find it very juicy and delicious. I think it's one of our best episodes, honestly. And it is a little, it wasn't meant to be an episode. So you just get to hear our genuine conversation. And I hope you enjoy it.
So I was talking with my sister this morning. We're three sisters, and it's very easy to just fall into the habit of being like, oh, Layla's the smart one, Hannah's the creative one, and Paula's the pretty one. It's like it's just so easy to
Whoa, whoa,
just be like,
whoa, whoa, whoa. I do not believe for a second that you are not the hottest sister.
my youngest sister is so beautiful. She is so beautiful. Me and my middle sister
Skeptical.
used to live together on an island, and people would be like, wow, those Johnson girls, they're so pretty. And we would both be like, we're the ugly ones. You haven't even seen the pretty sister. You don't even know who she is. You don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, so I was talking with my sister this morning about how my middle sister, Hannah, I was like, you know what? I think Hannah's secretly the smart one. She's so smart that she convinced me that I'm the smart one so that she could be smart without anybody noticing. That's how fucking smart she is. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'm seeing clearly now.
It's nice to take all the responsibility off. You get to enjoy your brains without anyone having expectation.
Well, it's funny because that was one of my own personal shadow embraces, is that I grew up in a household full of very intelligent nerd people, that archetype. And we did not like jocks. Jocks were the bad team that scared us. They were our predators. You know what I mean? So, but it turns out that that caused me to completely shun the part of myself that really likes physical activity. And in my adult life, I have come to discover that there is a part of me that is a total jock. And one of my shadow embraces is like, yeah, you know what? I don't have to be a know-it-all. I can just be a dumb jock. I'm not a smarty pants. I'm a dumb jock. And it healed me. It healed me. And I was also and so when I was talking to my sister this morning, I was like, I don't think I want to be the smart one anymore. I think I want to be the weird one. And then I was thinking about that in the context of this conversation we're having. And I'm like, I don't even want to be the weird one. I'll be the normal one. You know what I mean? I just feel so what's the value of being a weirdo? Why is that better than being normal? You know what I mean? What's normal? What's weird? Who cares? Why do we let's just be, let's just exist. You know what I mean? I just heard me and my sisters getting really into, or myself. I was even texting my sister being like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. We are not the smart one, the artistic one, and the pretty one. Actually, she's the smart one. Actually, I'm the weird one. Actually, no. I just found myself. And I guess I have sympathy for all of us because we all do the game of what am I? And I think one of the most fun things that I've discovered in my life, and even turbocharged it through shadow work, is I just get to be whatever in any moment. And there's no permanence to any of those things. Right now, my kids are at school. I'm alone. I'm a horrible mom. I'm the worst, most neglectful mom. I don't do anything for my kids. And I'm totally okay with saying that right now because you know what? Nobody needs me. I don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? We can just be whatever we want for a moment. A moment. And the more we can be comfortable just moving through those moments and just growing from them and taking them not seriously and having the play, just the better, you know?
Well, because it's actually really harmful. So my family, my brother was the smart one and I was the pretty one. So
Right.
as the pretty one though, then you have to be pretty all the time. And I remember my first pregnancy destroyed me because suddenly I didn't think I was pretty. But that's my role. So now
That's
what
who
do
you are.
do? Yeah. It was
You're nothing.
Yeah,
You're
I
a
don't have any
liar.
value anymore because I'm not if I'm not pretty, then what am I?
Right.
Yeah. So
Messed up.
we putting ourselves in these boxes, yeah, it's like tying our worth sometimes to some, like, arbitrary thing that's all comparative too, like, that whole thing is so comparative. Like, if you were in a different family, you would be the hot one, or you would be the jock, the athletic one,
Oh, I know.
or you
I think about how me and my middle sister used to just relentlessly torment my youngest, the beautiful one, because of course she was beautiful, so she had to be stupid. And also she was younger than us. So apparently to our young minds, she was stupid. So we just told her all the time how stupid she was and gave her a really big complex. My sister, the stupid one, is like a genius. You know what I mean? So it's all so relative.
It's like using, because identity, right? Like getting so locked into identity that you can't do anything else. And instead, like approaching identity as a hat, right? Like it's just something I can put on to help me make sense of things for a little while. And then I can take that hat off and put on a different hat. Like, what am I using to make meaning and sense of this weird fucking existence
You guys want to hear the craziest thing I ever did?
ever?
It's
Absolutely.
truly
I
insane,
can't
twisted
imagine that
thing
there's
I ever
only
did.
one thing, but
I know.
I feel like this
quantify.
was actually it.
Okay.
I feel like this was it. When I was a teenager, I was very depressed. In some ways, I feel like I was born depressed. I feel like I was just a very sad child. Just came in with a lot of sad. Anyway, by the time I was in high school, I was doing all kinds of, cry for help type self harming. And I was really acting crazy. I was really putting on the show of my torment and my sad. And I was like really invested in that. And it was like getting to the point where I was like, showing up to school with my new self harm wounds and not concealing them on purpose so that my teachers would send me to you know what I mean? Like just weird stuff, which understandable. Teenage girl harm. I actually have a lot to say about that topic. That would be a different tangent for another day. Um, so I was doing that for a while. I was really stuck in that. I was really committed to that identity of like, oh, I'm in pain. I'm a tormented teenager. And I swear to you that one morning I woke up and I was like, I'm not crazy anymore. I've been acting crazy this whole time. I'm not crazy anymore. And I just like put on a really normal outfit and I just like never again behaved like a, crazy teenager in that particular mode. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously I still did crazy teenager stuff. And I think that that was a crazy teenager thing, but I think that the crazy thing that happened was just deciding to tell myself I'm not crazy anymore.
Yeah, you're like,
That's the
been
craziest
there,
thing I ever did.
done that. And
Yes.
yeah, now I'm bored. What's
Now I'm
next?
bored. I fully integrated the crazy teenage girl. And I literally woke up and was like, ooh, full. And I guess I just want to share that story because I think that's one of the first like true EKs that I did because I just got so done. I'm just, and the reason I think like it would be called crazy to do that was because I just felt very free to decide I am not crazy anymore.
Mhm, mhm.
There doesn't like I don't need to get a diagnosis. I don't need anybody to stamp my card and tell me that I'm good anymore. Like I just know I'm done behaving that way. I'm done identifying as that. And yeah, that's it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. It makes me like think a lot of things that, because I am not trained in mental health or anything like that. And I absolutely feel that like there is this really potentially damaging thing about getting a diagnosis and over identifying with that, you know?
Yes. That's what I was trying to get to, Danny. Thank you for saying that because I feel like many people, like I hear my friends now who are grown adults like me who have teenage children, and I hear about the children who are going through this, or, I see other people. I just see people I just want to give everyone permission. You can just wake up one morning and just be done. You can just do that. And yes, it's true that when you show up in your totally normal kid outfit instead of your weird homemade clothes that like look weird, people are going to look at you strange for a little bit. Like that's going to be so weird, which you'll like, right? You'll get off on that for a little bit, but you can just do it. Like I just see people be like, well, but like I've liked dogs for so long, I really can't admit that I'm over liking dogs. Like something so basic. I feel like people have a hard time just letting it go. Do you guys notice? Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong at all. And I'd say, at least for myself, shadow work helped really soften that because I mean, I don't really know how to talk about shadow work without talking about it as parts work. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I really think they are the same thing. Um, and so when you realize that there are just infinite parts of yourself, any sort of concept of one specific identified identity or one thing that can never change just doesn't hold up anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel kinda how Layla feels sometimes where I'm like because I have had that experience similar experiences where I'm like, "No, I'm just done with that now." And some people, I'm just like, "Why won't you just if you don't wanna do it anymore, just
Just
stop.
admit.
Just
Just
stop."
admit that you're done.
You're already there. Just now you just have to, like, act the part. Um,
Right.
Some of us really enjoy feeling disempowered. Some of us really like this story. Like, I'm hearing both of you and being like, oh God, but like that's because of them and the very specific individuals they are. And like they're special and they have this magic. And no, 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 I could never do that. That's just not me.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But I hear you on the diagnosis thing, and I do think it is really because 'cause I've gone down this rabbit hole a lot, and I think it is really nuanced because some people it's so I do think, especially teens, angsty teens, I'm like, we should just, like, not label them. Like, if they haven't had this issue persisting for more than, like, 5 years, just let teens be fucking freaks, you know? Just let them be freaks, let them be mentally ill, unless it's, like, really serious, like, they're gonna, like, harm themselves or whatever, but, like, because then you're giving them an identity. That's always my fear, and on the other side of it, though, I have seen how understanding like, "Oh, shit, I have ADHD," or, "Oh, shit, I have autism," can just for somebody who their whole life they didn't realize they had that. I've seen both my parents went through this. Both my parents were diagnosed ADD or ADHD, like, when I was a kid at some point, and we're just like, "Oh my god, my whole life now makes sense," and, like, it just helped them so much because then there's all these, like, tools that come along with that, and there's so much information, and they can say, like, I'm not just a like, whatever, it's like they can start to understand the patterns and relate to it and feel connected to something that makes sense to them. I don't know, it just, like, gives them, like, a tether. So I feel like in some sense it can be extremely helpful to diagnose, and in another sense it can be extremely it can, like it can stick somebody into a box, but my biggest thing on this, because you brought it up, Danny, so now I'm gonna go on my rant about it. I think that the problem is the way that we diagnose. I want it to be you have ADHD not like now, even right now, like it should be considered temporary. Personality disorders are considered, at least when I had studied them, it was like if you have a personality disorder, they would say like these can never be cured. What the fuck is that? But even with bipolar and things like that, we kind of claim I know, Holly, this is your wheelhouse, so
I'm like
I'm doing
vibrating
too
right
much.
now.
Like, we treat it as if, like, that's just who I am. And I think with some things, it is a lifelong journey, we know that true, but also I still think identifying as that to make that what you are is just I don't love that.
Yeah, I wanna touch back on the thing for teenagers. That's why, like, at least the clinicians that I know, like, we won't diagnose bipolar until in your 20s being a teenager is bipolar. There's so much up and down and all around that like the biology of puberty and the social things that are happening and what's happening in your brain, like there's just so much going on that yeah, let teenagers be teenagers and fuck up and do
Be
all the
mentally
things.
ill.
Yeah, because there is a biology in that, right? There's a biology of it. And the same thing for like certain mental health conditions.
They're in the divine disorder. They
Yeah.
look crazy to us. They look crazy to us because they're going through the like goo. They
Yeah.
are crazy, but it's good. It's
Yeah.
for the best.
It's correct. Like that's teenagers are supposed to be that way. Otherwise, they wouldn't all be that way. Like it's almost a global experience of like disruption in your teenage years.
Yeah, and it's almost like if you're not like that as a teenager, that's even a bigger warning sign. That's even a
Yeah.
bigger cause for concern.
Yeah. There should be some rebellion and acting out. But and like when it comes to diagnosing, like my thing, like when I give someone a diagnosis, it's like I'm always there like this is a tool. This is not who you are. You are not to it is my hope that you are not going to identify yourself with this and use this as a way to be shitty to yourself. Because if that's the case, I don't want to give you a diagnosis. Like I don't want you to have that. Um when someone comes in with a diagnosis, it's like, okay, let's talk about that. So what are the tools that we can use that work with this? Are the tools not working? Then let's play with this diagnosis and see what's actually working for you. Um, and like as someone who my only diagnosis that I have is dysthymia, like I've been diagnosed with persistent depressive disorder. And honestly, that's just a way to give me tools, a way for me to continue to do therapy, like those kinds of things. I've self-affirmed with autism and ADHD, and I don't need like sometimes I get curious, like I want to go through the process, but I don't need a diagnosis because I know all of the tools that work for these things work for me. And yeah, I don't like the using like you spoke to like personality disorders and like I love working with people who have a diagnosed personality disorder because I get the opportunity to roll back a lot of the conditioning. Like cool, cool. Someone's been calling you borderline as code for being an asshole. Awesome. Let's work with this because yeah, now we have they have like clinical tools that they use for people with personality that are diagnosed with personality disorders. And also like I mean, from where I sit, it's all trauma. Like it's all a nervous system responding to something shitty that happened or has continued to happen. Um, and I love to bring in EK for people like that because EK is very dialectical behavioral therapy adjacent. Like they dovetail really well together. So getting to bring in these tools for people who like either have diagnosed themselves on TikTok or have tried to work with people before and not had it go anywhere is it gives me life because it's like getting to help someone understand that this isn't your everything. This is one name that someone gave you one time. It's not
Feel
I've
like
never been diagnosed with a
another
personality
podcast.
disorder, okay? That's never happened to me, but I self-diagnosed, probably because of Girl Interrupted, as having borderline personality disorder when I was young, but not just because it was cool in a movie, but because I was like, "Oh, that's what's happening for me." And I just remember living with like this feeling in my spirit. Like there was a sucking vortex in my soul. Like I just remember feeling this like horrible sucking vortex. And I would get so triggered when I was younger. And it was so easy to put me into just a complete borderline meltdown where I would wind up, I mean, I guess whether this goes to print or not, whether this goes to publication or not, I'll just say like I would wind up like just screaming, "I'm a monster! I get it! You hate me!" Just like completely decompensating into the like vortex of self-hate that I think is the borderline personality disorder fuel, okay? And it was existential kink. I didn't do it directly on this because I never had a diagnosis and I, kind of had matured. And so it wasn't really like so present in my life. So there is some just maturation and healing that had happened for me. It was not in my 20s, in my mid 30s, it was not the same for me as when I was in my teens and 20s. Okay. But I remember having a dream one night during the first couple years that I was working with EK where I saw the drain. I saw the spinning drain and I went into the spinning drain and I came out the other side, and the other side of the drain was a fountain. And I have never, ever, ever felt that sucking vortex feeling ever again. And I really believe that it was EK that gave me the like new mental framework to go into the vortex in myself and come out the other side. And it just really that level of disturb just has never, ever, ever come upon me ever again. That's my healing story about EK curing personality disorders.
Yes. Oh my god. I'm like, can we just
What?
use this as a podcast? Like,
I just said, I feel like this is an episode right here.
I don't know if you'd be okay with that, Layla. It was a vulnerable share, but god damn it, so fucking insightful and helpful. And
I
like,
think you know what? Who cares? Just share it. Great. I mean, truly. I mean, listen, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I'll say this to protect myself and make myself feel good. The people who think I still have a personality disorder already thought that before I shared this story. Do you know what I mean?
mhm.
So it doesn't matter. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's not going to change anything. It's just telling the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I just hate like the whole thing around personality disorders. Like it's like people like therapists speak like they use that as a code for this person's hard to work with. And it's like,
Mm,
so
mm.
work harder. Like what are we doing? Like
Yeah, or just admit that you don't know what to do with this person.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
mean and
maybe you're just not the right practitioner. I have
Yeah.
yeah.
to, as a body worker, that it comes up for me. I've been a body worker for over a decade, and there are times that people just don't come back or say, like, this isn't working for me. And I have to just be like, okay, either this is not the modality for you, or I am not the practitioner for you, you
That can
know?
bring it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a better way to put it, definitely, because yeah, because there are some people who are just not fits. And yeah, like I think it back, it's like the notion of work harder is a little like blamey. And also it comes from a place of frustration with like,
Well, you can hear that there's like a dismissal of like, well, that's not my fault. There's nothing that could be done anyway. And like just kind of a brushing it aside. That's dismissive of a human soul that is inside that complex, suffering very deeply.
yeah. And also, like, I mean, I've known therapists that have been in like dangerous situations because of the disease progression, right? Like
Yes. Yeah. Right.
not
Oh
just
yeah.
the disorder, but like it can be dangerous. And also, like, I had someone come at me and I sat and stayed in my body and regarded them with so much love that they backed down. Like, it was just like, you could probably hurt me right now, and I could probably hurt you back. And,
We could go
or,
there.
yeah, or we could just sit here and you could sit down now. Like, that could
Holly,
happen.
thank you. Oh my God, Holly, I don't want that. I don't want that story to just be the tiny little 30-second blurb that it was, because that story is a profound story.
Hmm.
Seriously profound. It reminds me of the story from the civil rights movement of the sit-in protester who was confronted by the angry mob who had knives and said, "We're gonna fucking kill you." And he lifted up his shirt and exposed his belly and said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna love you while you do it." and he did not die. So that is the power of that very stance. Thank you, Holly.
So funny because I never looked at it that way. Like it's a different way to perceive it for sure. Just like, oh, for me, it was just proving myself like, oh, you can just sit with someone. You don't have to like, oh, this is where the violence could come. Like, oh, and being able to sit and like, oh, I could totally kill this person right now, and they could totally kill me. And let's see if that's not gonna happen.
My gosh. Let's see if that's not gonna happen.
It was so strange. It was so strange and fast and beautiful. Like, yeah.
I mean,
Like,
I
oh.
just can't imagine being on the other side of that. Somebody who, if you are like somebody who gets violent with people and then coming up against a Holly who just calmly is just like, here we are.
It shocked the shit out of me too. Like, I was sitting there afterwards like, "Oh, oh, wow. Huh. Okay. That is in you."
Some really fucking amazing capacity. And I mean, it makes me think about earlier, maybe this was on another podcast, when we were talking about um oh, hold on, I think I lost it. It's gone. Never mind.
We were talking about how we can't condemn even the people who are representing the shadow. Like we can't just imprison them. We can't like that will just perpetuate the cycle of violence, right? Like what Holly
Yeah.
did was she was met with aggression and violence, and she would have been absolutely justified in the rational mind of any other person to either physically retaliate or like legally retaliate. Either of those things, everyone would have been like, "Oh my God, Holly, are you okay? That was so brave of you." You would have gotten so much love for being the victim of a scary moment and doing the right thing, you know? But instead, you saw that and you were like, wow, grace and mercy be upon us. Here we are in the moment when this person commits violence against me. Huh, love it. Here we are. And it just like it couldn't even happen in that field. The field of total love and approval for the shadow annihilated it. Do you know what I mean, Holly?
Yeah, totally. Okay, this was similar. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That was such a beautiful external representation of like how as people we do that. Like Holly, what an amazing example. And I was going to say it's sounds like an actual like people relationship version of what we can do with our shadow, right? That fear comes up. People were talking about the fear of, well, if I really go into the shadow, then I will become that destructive force. But look at that. Look at that destructive force was actually met with that, okay, I can be really, truly honest in the moment of what the risks are here. And I'm going to choose love and presence and acceptance of what's actually happening. And I'm just really curious, instead of projecting on a story about what happened in the aftermath, Holly, what was it like with you and that individual after that?
Well, I can't get too deeply into it because this is a
Fair.
client.
Hmm.
Um, but it was really lovely because the energy came like because energy was really up. Like I was way up here and then brought it back down like and like sitting down and just being like and because I was able to meet them and just be there, like just getting to I'm trying to wrap words around it. There was a really big settling and spaciousness that happened in the room.
And did
Um,
that person come back? Like, did they continue with you? Mhm.
Yeah,
uh,
that's kind of my question is like,
briefly, we're also talking about a person that was in psychosis, and I feel confident using that word to describe this person. Um, and it was my first time working with someone in really active psychosis, but not dangerous, except for like to me in that moment, but like not threatening violence to themselves or to anyone else. And they continued for a few sessions and then stopped. So uh, it was like I still wonder sometimes, like, oh, I wish they would have come back more. Like they continued on for a few weeks after that. I wish they would have come back more, and I hope that in that moment that they got proof that there's someone in this field that could sit with them and believe them, like not necessarily believe the reality they were experiencing, but believe that they were in something and not have to think that immediately you need to go to a hospital because your perception of reality is different than mine, right? Because in the state that I live in, like it is if they're a danger to themselves or someone else. Like that's you don't need to like I think there's just like because of the stigma around mental health in general, like there's an idea that I can't be real. Like I can't let this person see me because if I let them see what I'm actually thinking, what I'm actually feeling, they're going to send me to the fucking loony bin. And instead with this person, I was able just to be with them. And yeah, that's my hope that they got to like they've grain the what's the word I'm looking for that they're holding on to the experience of someone in the health realm that isn't demonizing them for how they are.
Holly, I'm really curious if you can I'm really curious what your definition of psychosis is. Like, what does that word mean to you?
Okay. So let's see if I can there's some nervousness around this because I'm describing a clinical term and one I want to get it right. And uh there's also wanting to be seen as getting it right. Does that make sense?
Thank you for naming those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So psychosis is there's a level of like delusion, like really intense hallucinations, like auditory, visual, kinesthetic, any like really altered perception. Um and it's it's also there it's fear-based, right? Like it's fear and aggression based. They're afraid of what's happening. There's a belief in like it can be like that they're being followed or that they're being tormented or I feel really self-conscious because I'm not good at finding like the clinical terms for it. Um but yeah, it's delusional behavior. Usually there's a lack of sleep involved, like a severe lack of sleep and a high energy. Um yeah, it's a break with reality. And I should say consensus reality, right? Because we all know that there are other worlds than these. But yeah, so and that's also I think how I'm able to be with that is that I am in the mental health field, a clinician, but I also am not convinced that what people perceive in altered states or in hallucinations aren't actually there. Like, I'm not convinced that hallucinations are untrue.
Sounds like you have space for a possibility that there are other realities. Or
One, not just have space for, I believe in it, but like the it's so a good way to describe it, like in layman's terms, if you believe in other realities, psychosis is like potentially perceiving them, but the signal scrambled. Like it's befuddling to an individual system, and so they're not processing it right. They're not able to perceive it in a grounded way.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for defining that for us because I feel like I mean, I don't know what it means, you know? Like, you're a clinician, and yeah, we throw out around the term, like, psychotic or that person's a psycho, and it's like, what is that? What is psychosis? Yeah. Well, I do have to wrap up. Um, this was a really fun impromptu second podcast episode that we just
Where
did.
we had more fun because we didn't think we were being recorded.
That's what I'm saying. We might just need to just turn the camera on and get used to it,
Yeah,
or turn the recording on.
yeah. Well, thank you, listener. Thank you, dear listener, for listening to our conversation. Not perfectly curated, but perhaps juicier for it conversation. And thank you, Danny and Holly and Layla. I love you guys.
Thank you. I love
Thanks,
you.
Thank you
Lucy.
for
Love you.
bringing us all together.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Penetrate Radio. I have a free guided existential kink practice. If you are somebody who is new to this work, if you're new to EK, if you haven't read the book, if you're just not a reader, or if you need a refresher, you can get this. You can download it right now for free and use it to learn how to do EK and just follow along as a guided practice. It is meant for beginners. So I just want to let you know that that's available, and you can find it at the link in the description. Also, in the link in the description, you can find more information about our membership Dominion, a field of radical approval. Dominion is less than the cost of a single manicure each month, and it's just a wonderful place to do this work in community. We have seen time and time again that being witnessed and witnessing others in this work is wildly helpful and validating. The last thing I want to mention is that a lot of our guests talk about the coach certification program Penetrate that they went through with myself and Layla. I want to let you know that we are going to be offering that same program again in 2027. And you can find a wait list in that same link if you're interested. In getting information about that when it becomes available. And I think this goes without saying, but if you see anyone else offering a program called Penetrate, that is also a coach certification program related to this kind of work, that is absolutely not the same program that Layla and I have taught, and that the people in this podcast are talking about when they talk about our coach certification program, Penetrate. So I just wanted to make that super clear. Layla and I share a lot of hard-won wisdom through that program. So if we're not the ones teaching it and offering it, then it is definitely not the same program. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Penetrate Radio, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.